to Spiritual Calisthenics. Christ is in our midst. On August 12th, we commemorate the holy martyrs Photius and Anicetus of Nicomedia, St. Sergios, St. Stephen, and St. Kastor, St. Palamon, elder of St. Pachomius the Great, and the Soldier-martyrs of Crete. Regarding St. Photius and Anicetus, the martyrs of Nicomedia, these martyrs contested in Nicomedia about the year 288, when Diocletian stirred up his persecution of the Christians. Anicetus presented himself openly and said to all who worship idols are blind and senseless. He was beaten with rods so ruthlessly that his bones appeared from the rents and wounds in his flesh. As he was suffering further torments, his nephew Photius came and embraced him, calling him his father and his uncle. Of course, talking about spiritual father, not his biological father. He's his uncle, but he is treating him as a spiritual father. He was also put to many tortures with him. They were then imprisoned together for 3 years. Finally, they were cast into a furnace, where they gave up their spirits, and their bodies were preserved unharmed. Saint Anicetus is one of the holy and mercenaries. Their martyrs, O Lord, in their courageous contest for you, received as the prize the crowns of incorruption and life from you, our immortal God. For since they possessed your strength, they cast down the tyrant, and wholly destroyed the demon's strengthless presumption. Christ God, by their prayers, save our souls, since you are merciful. With anthems of praise, you faithful, let us all extol the warriors of God, the yoke pair of Christ's majesty, and all of us who love martyrs' contest crown with our hymns of song the staunch heralds of piety. Fully we're friends and lovers of our God. The readings are according to the week. From St. Paul's first letter to the Corinthians. Brethren, do you not know that those who are employed in the temple service get their food from the temple? And those who serve at the altar share in the sacrificial offerings? In the same way, the Lord commanded that those who proclaim the gospel should get their living by the gospel. But I have made no use of any of these rights, nor am I writing this to secure any provision. Again, St. Paul is talking about how clergy and the workers of the gospel should be able to be given food, drink, and wages so that they can do this work. But again, he is not asking it for himself, but is showing it for those that work after him. For I would rather die than have anyone deprive me of my ground for boasting. For necessity is laid upon me. Woe to me if I do not preach the gospel. For if I do this of my own will, I have a reward. But if not of my own will, I am entrusted with a commission. What then is my reward? Just this, that in my preaching I may make the gospel free of charge, not making full use of my right in the gospel. So in other words, by freely giving the gospel, he is giving them a gift. Because of that, he is able to boast, and therefore to admonish them when they are not acting correctly. From the Gospel according to St. Matthew, at that time the Pharisees and the Sadducees came to Jesus to test him, and they asked him to show them a sign from heaven. He answered them, When it is evening, you say, it will be fair weather, for the sky is red. And in the morning it will be a stormy day, for the sky is red and threatening. You know how to interpret the appearance of the sky, but you cannot interpret the sign of the times. An evil and adulterous generation seeks for a sign, but no sign shall be given to you except the sign of Jonah. So he left them and departed. Now what is the sign of Jonah? The sign of Jonah is from Jonah. Jonah was a prophet in the Old Testament, and he was sent to basically tell the town of Nineveh that they were going to be destroyed. And he didn't want to go. He knew that they were people that did not listen to God. He didn't want to go. So on the way there, he was in a tumultuous storm, and the people said, what's going on? Why is God so angry? And he came clean and said, he's angry with me because I don't want to go to Nineveh. And so they cast him out of the boat, and he was swallowed by a sea monster, a whale. And he was in the whale for 3 days. This is an allegory to Jesus in the tomb 3 days. This is why the story of Jonah is read on Holy Saturday when Christ is in Hades, alluding to his resurrection. And Jonah put his hands in the form of a cross, and the whale exuded him out. This then brought him to Nineveh, and they repented. And he was upset because they repented. Well, why did I even come if they were going to repent? And God uses various images to show Jonah his personhood and his grace. When the disciples reached the other side, they had forgotten to bring any bread. Jesus said to them, "Take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees." Now, leaven is that sort of prototype bread that is put into bread so that bread could rise. But what he's saying is that when you put that into the church, the hypocrisy and the evil of the Pharisees and Sadducees, it will corrupt the rising church. So be careful, keep yourself pure, not from people, but from the evil teachings that they bring. I hope that you've enjoyed today's spiritual calisthenics. Have a blessed and wonderful day.